the buzzword digital transformation has different meanings to different people. And this misalignment is one of the greatest challenges. Executives are looking to IT practitioners to provide the answers and to make digital transformation happen, and vice versa. And there's very little collaboration that goes on. Everybody is too busy, it seems, to be focusing on digital transformation. Because we have to, everybody we're talking about existing organizations that want to change, hence the word transformation. It's not proper to use digital transformation for a new company, a startup. They could be innovating, but they're not transforming something that already exists. And in business, what I find as well is that there's very little vision and strategy around why digital transformation. What is digital transformation? What does it mean for that specific company? What are the objectives of digital transformation? Some of the catchphrases that people use is they have a digital transformation roadmap, a roadmap to a process, which maybe I'm being a bit over technical, but it does give a hint of how people view digital transformation. It is something that needs to be done, as opposed to a means to an end. And then for IT practitioners, without that clear sense of direction and alignment with executives, business leaders, they are unable to clearly define the capabilities, the capacity, the technologies that are needed to facilitate the type of transformation that a company would need to undergo to achieve a specific end. The objective of digital transformation is to realize what we call Enterprise 3.0, to create a digital enterprise. And having a deep understanding of that, what it means for an organization that exists, or an SME, an entrepreneur, a business owner, large or small, it has to be one of the first things that is very clear for all the different stakeholders. Then most of the roadblocks would have been cleared. When I think of a business, sometimes we use the term organization. A business is an organism. It's like a creature, or it's a machine with parts. It's a single unit made up of many different parts. And a business is no different from, an animal that has a heart, lungs, kidneys, etc. All the different parts are working towards not just the survival of the organism, but the success of the organism. Now, getting staff to be involved and to be a part of digital transformation. Again, Peter Drucker, one of my mentors that I've never met, says that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Leaders in organizations can put together a lot of great ideas and so on, but the culture within the organization, which is really just a description of the people, the employees working in the organization, it can defeat any plan that is laid on the table, any roadmap that is laid out. And they are the ones who have to trod on that roadmap. They are the ones who need to align with their leaders in the organization. They need to understand that the success of the organization is ultimately their success as well. And I find that a lot of employees, they don't necessarily appreciate that. They don't understand that the digital transformation of the organization, of the organization that employs them, is geared at their own success, and they need to, just like the business, adapt and evolve, so that the business can be self-sustaining, so that the organs in the organism can thrive and succeed. And having sessions, workshops with employees to talk about the vision of the objective. What does the company look like? What does the business look like? Digitally transformed enterprise, as a digital enterprise. Communicating that, articulating that repeatedly and constantly to employees, so that they can understand it, they can adapt it, and they can feel as if it's a part of their reality, and own that vision as well. That's the only way employees can truly be involved in digital transformation. And they have to know, what happens to them when the business becomes this digital enterprise. They have to have a vision that, okay, maybe my skills are outdated, maybe I need some training. The companies owe it to their employees. They're, just like how I owe it to my organs to eat well, exercise. Companies owe it to their employees to take care of them, to give them a fighting chance to survive and be a part of the organization in the future. Because no company has ever made it without employees. Wherever the company is right now is as a result of the efforts of the employees. And it is only right for companies to think of how their current employees can stay in the organization, add value, and they themselves can fit into the new digital enterprise that they intend to become. In order to do large-scale digital transformation, companies right now are trying to, separate the innovation and the digital transformation from the day-to-day. But there's a huge disadvantage to the company there, in that the people who are actually keeping the company running, the existing processes, etc., they stay one way, and so what you have is you have competition within the organization between those who are a part of the traditional business processes, structures, etc., the non-digital operations, for want of a better term, and those who are maybe they are in the lab, they are a part of projects and initiatives around adopting, creating, innovating, and implementing new processes, etc., to digitize and digitalize processes. Companies do need to, again, it goes back to the employees, engage employees more, engage in different operations, non-digital operation unit heads, and give them a vision as well. Again, it ties back to, both questions you asked before. It comes back to, recalibrating really means, having us looking back at what needs to be done to get the whole organization moving towards digital transformation. Because one of the things that I find is that when companies talk about digital transformation, they see it as a bolt-on, an add-on, which is really a wrong way to look at it, as opposed to what they will be in the future, a full, complete transformation. Yes, measures have to be put in place to keep the lights on, to keep the current non-digital processes running, etc. But there has to be greater integration between both worlds. because what will happen is, there's a risk that digital transformation will not happen in a way that leverages everything that is good about the non-digital operations. There's no learning that would be coming um, from the existing processes, from the existing way that a business operates. It's like it is like the opposite, the other far end of the Sam Goody story. Years ago there was a Sam Goody was a CD music retailer, prior to iTunes, MP3, etc. And it's a huge company that sold CDs, music CDs, nationwide in the US, and they were busy. The executive was busy making plans to expand, etc., etc. And no one consulted with the workers. The workers, nobody went to their workers to say, hey, how do you listen to music today? No, none of the workers listen to CDs anymore. And nobody asked them. They were employed in an organization that had big plans to expand. It turned out to be a catastrophe. It was acquired for millions of dollars, and within months, they had to wrap up. It became bankrupt because there was misalignment. The people who are in the organization were not working with the people working on the organization. There needs to be greater collaboration, openness, and transparency, because not being open and transparent, you don't get to leverage and benefit from the knowledge. And there's wisdom to be learned from people who do the processes manually day to day. They are the ones facing the customers. They are the one doing the job. And so they have a lot of insight to offer into the process. And so engaging, the current owners and workers involved in non-digital processes is very critical. And I think that is something that every company looking to go on a digital transformation journey could do much better. Yes, there are many tools. There's quite a lot. Currently, I've been using Miro a lot. It's a tool that allows you to have different type of brainstorming sessions, to build out customer journey maps, which is actually critical. User experience mapping, very critical to defining what the organism is doing and how it does it in the future or perceived future state of the ecosystem. Of course, there's a lot of frameworks as well that you need to look at, because transforming an existing business to a digital enterprise, you have to leverage best practices and frameworks. So we can look at design thinking, architectural thinking. This is very key for the IT practitioners who are involved in digital transformation. Using best practices like TOGAF to help to shape the principles as well as the architecture to design it. The business has to be designed and presented, graphically, so everybody can see it and say, that's where we're going. That's how it's going to work. A lot more of that needs to happen, and using, these different tools to create diagrams, graphical illustrations of what Enterprise 3.0, the digital enterprise, looks like is very important. Articulation to ensure that everybody's aligned is key. And so using tools like that, as opposed to just meeting and talking and looking at words, because not everybody learns the same, you know, especially today with what we call digital natives. You know, those younger than myself who grew up with technology in their hands. You know, they grew up with an iPad, you know, babies, you know, my sons, when they were very small, you know, I handed them a tablet and they figured it out before they could talk properly. You know, they have a different perspective on how businesses should operate, how businesses should serve them, you know, the kind of information that they require, that immediate gratification. A lot of the business leaders and the tools that we use, the processes that we use to pursue digital transformation does not lend itself to engaging, unless, you know, unless we are aware of it, engaging the digital native, to ensure that we are aligned with what it is that they will love, what it is that what will delight them. And so tools that help to help the digital transformation practitioner to appreciate and understand things from the customer's perspective, the millennials, etc. Those kind of tools to be customer centric are something that I find are very powerful, and can quickly make crystallize and make very clear what a company needs to do. Attendees to the training will receive value by way of getting a lot of practical tips, best practices, tools that will help them to, first of all, define what digital transformation is. It is a buzzword. It is a process that for which objectives need to be clearly defined, outcomes need to be defined, and roadmaps need to be created. You know, a destination has to be defined, and the course that one takes to get to that destination. And of course, we'll be looking at the tools that can be used to make that happen. And that is an area where executives will receive a lot of value in helping them to carve out vision, strategy, you know, how to facilitate, how to execute on digital transformation. For IT practitioners, I like to call them the Dr. Frankensteins of the organization. There's a vision. Somebody needs to put all the technology and the science together to make it happen. The IT practitioner is the person who does the enablement. You know, they help to realize the capabilities and the capacities needed. They will receive a lot of value as well in terms of how they can go about communicating with other stakeholders, looking at the different tools, frameworks that are out there that can help them to quickly facilitate the journey for their organization. In terms of SMEs, small, medium, micro-sized businesses, entrepreneurs, they will receive a lot of value by looking at, again, if their frame of mind is not in the right place in terms of how to view digital transformation. Why digital transformation? You know, what is the rationale behind it? What are the implications of going on a digital transformation journey? Why can't I just, my business just stay the way it is now? And what are the pros and cons of that? What are the benefits to be realized? How do I calculate and determine the cost of it versus the return on investment? There are some key tips and tools and practical steps that we'll be looking at in the course. It's very short, compact, but most definitely, you know, as the advertising as the advertisement indicates, executives, IT practitioners, and SME stakeholders will definitely gather a lot from this session.